The key is that you're encouraging them to be able to explore and go down that road without shaming.
Hey, I'm Kathleen Rumford from Katalytic Empowerment, where we delve into topics for parents and homeschoolers. And in this 6-part Katalytic Empowerment series, we'll be learning from our guest, Donnie Fitzpatrick, who you just briefly heard. In today's Part 4 video, we discuss how anyone, whether teen or adult, can identify their strengths in an effort to determine what they really want in life. Now, this isn't always with extreme clarity, of course, because it's a process and life's a journey and we're continually learning and growing. But if we want to understand our kids more, it may be a good idea to take a look at ourselves first. How did God wire us? What do we love to do? What lights us up? But also, what beliefs are driving our lives? Why do we say or do the things that we do and maybe project onto our kids? And what is it we really want for ourselves in our lives? I've linked an amazing resource called Strength Finders 2.0 in the description to help with this for ourselves and our kids so they can identify their strengths and what it is they really want for their lives. Let's hear more from Donnie.
There's an example of my niece. I guess it would have been about 8 years ago. We were sitting there having a family dinner, and her name's Melissa. And Melissa is sitting there, and she's in grade 12, and everybody's asking her, hey, Missa, like, what are you going to do next year? What are you going to do? And she's like, oh, I'm going to be a dentist. And everyone's like, oh, great. Good for you, Melissa. That's awesome. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know my niece, right? And I'm thinking, I don't think she's being honest. And so I went over to her and I'm like, hey, miss, like, are you really interested in being a dentist? Like, that's cool. Like, I mean, if you are. And she's like, no. And I'm like, so why did you say that? She goes, Uncle Donnie, I'm so tired of everybody asking me what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do. And she's like, and I said, well, what made you decide to say a dentist then? And she goes, because everybody that they make enough money and everybody would be proud. Mm. But when I talked to her now she's into financial advising at one of the banks. And actually she did a session with my class on the phone with a bunch of the kids. And when we talked afterwards, it was like, there was a little bit of shame that was kind of at that time when you're holding on to a story of this is what it's like, and it doesn't mean that this is the way it is for everybody, but I hear this a lot. Why can't you be okay with me not knowing? Mm-hmm. And I think it comes from a really caring, loving place of the adults, because we're just like, we so badly want them to be able to know and transition as smoothly as possible. So that's a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Something that you mentioned earlier made me jot down something. You had said something about the parents kind of forcing a path on the child, and they may not have the experience to say what they want, but I don't even know that they necessarily know what they want. And in fact, when I was leaving my job a couple of years ago as a director of operations of a leadership development company, right? So it was all about leadership development, all about the strength stuff, all about this kind of human being versus a human doing. And I was talking to one of the partners, and I said, how can a 50, however old I was, let's say 52-year-old, not really know what they want? I can't even tell you what I really want. I really don't know, right? And as we do, we're all doing, we don't give ourselves the space necessarily. Some people do, but I haven't really given myself the space, like, what do I want to do? I can understand how the kids may not know what they want yet, because oftentimes adults don't.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And I think that this is a really big thing. Like, the shift for me in education really happened when it wasn't that I was looking at the kids. It was, I started looking at me differently. Like, this is I always think in this, and I say this when I work with parents and whatnot, it's like, if you want to understand them more, you need to understand you more. Like, not because there's something wrong with you, but it's like, sometimes I see this a lot in public education, where you have teachers that went through the school system and they were like, school was perfect for them. It totally worked. When we did the research at our school, and it's not like our schools are the norm, but you only got 10 to 12% of the kids actually going on to post-secondary school. And yet I do an activity with the kids where I take 200 students and I say, okay, you guys, so there's going to be one of 4 areas that you go into when you leave high school. You're either going to go into the workforce, you're going to take a gap year, you're going to go traveling, or you're going to post-secondary. Which is the right one to do? And it's a loaded question because I know what they're going to, and I said, now, and we have this big room, and I'll say, okay, if you're going to post-secondary, go to that one. If you're going to workforce, go over there. If you go, and then they all go like this, and they all move into their spots, and you'll see post-secondary packed. And I'm like, so why is this the one that is the right one to do? And what you see is there's all these beliefs about what it means. Well, if you go to college, you for sure are going to get a good job. Like you're going to make more money than this is their thinking, right? And so what we do is I take them through each section and we look at the pros and cons of all the different ones so that they can go, oh, well, what do I actually think? Like, and what's cool is they get to hear other people's opinions. Like, in a classroom, I can sit there and I can talk about my 47 years of experience. But if I've got like 30 kids in there and they're all 15-year-olds, that's 450 years of experience collectively when they talk. They're going to get way more out of that, hearing them bang around these ideas than just simply mine. And it's not that you have it figured out and you got it nailed down. It's a process. It's a lifelong thing. Like Kathleen, you're saying at 52, I didn't really know. I'm still kind of going, it's like, that's normal.
Yeah.
Like I fell into a career that I absolutely love and adore. Like kids will say to me, well, what do you do? I'm like, you guys, I'd like to say that it was a fluke. I went to play basketball and I ended up finding something else that I loved. So anyways, I think that one piece about starting with looking at us and kind of going into those places. And that's what happens with the parents when they come to the strengths workshop to learn about their kids. They end up looking at their own stuff, and it's really powerful.
Yeah, one of the things that I was talking to you about last night was, and I do have permission to share this, my younger daughter was telling me in hindsight, or a few years later, she's 24 now, but was saying how during high school, she went through bouts of depression. I had no idea. I had no idea. And as a parent, this is one of the reasons I wanted to have this workshop, because parents don't know what they don't know. And you might think, like you were saying, the kids, give all the right answers, but you don't know necessarily what's really going on. And so to me, the question is just, how do parents show up? How can parents show up in a way that creates a safe space for their kids to then share things with them, and the parent not feeling like they have to have the answers, right? So that they're not walking these tough things, not necessarily alone. You don't know who they're walking them with, right? They're not walking it with you.
Yeah. So I think I'll try and so the strengths thing is a really important thing because it does put the child in the role of being the expert, right?
About themselves,
and so that's really big. And there's a way to navigate that conversation, so you're not sending them down, some path that's like totally terrible for them. But here's one of the things that I'm gonna share two things. I'm gonna digress a little bit, and I'm gonna bring it right back around to the question that you asked.
To get the most out of this discussion, please join us for part 5, where Donnie addresses the question of how can parents show up in a way that creates a safe space for their kids to share things with them, and how he took away a key roadblock or fear preventing kids from engaging and thus allowing them to share more authentically. And as always, please like this video and subscribe to our channel and check out relevant links in the description. Till next time, take care and God bless.